Hi, I'm Peter Charles here of Hooked for Life Fly Fishing, and I'm going to talk about something that fly fishers rarely do and maybe they should consider doing on a regular basis. And that's when we're fishing large flies, pike flies, bass flies, saltwater flies, whatever the case may be. Use snaps instead of tie your line directly to the fly. A lot of the light wire snaps are quite usable for fly fishing. And with these light wire snaps, it's easy to remove and put a new fly on. Also gives you your fly free movement because there is nothing to interfere with any kind of back and forth or up or down motion. A couple of other things I've noticed is that you can change the action of the fly by adding a snap to the better. By when you add the snap, it puts a little bit of weight at the front of the fly, and that helps to keep the nose of the fly down and helps it to penetrate a little bit better. Especially on down eye hooks, there's a tendency for the fly to ride like this in slower currents, and that just causes the fly to rise. If you've got a snap on the front, it'll help to pull it more level, and it'll get a little deeper. So, you can benefit from that. The other thing I found with poppers is you can take a popper, and if you tie directly to the popper, it tends to pop more. If you put a snap on the front of it, it pulls the nose of the popper down a little bit and turns it more into a gurgle than a pop, which may be beneficial when you are going over pressured fish and they've seen a lot of top water before and you want to make it a little bit more subtle. So you can change popper action and you can improve the action of streamers with these kinds of snaps. So I've got two here. Unfortunately, the VMC is not the right bag. I've misplaced the bag. So these are Dualux. They're size 1 and 30 pound. They're pretty good. And I'll show you what they look like. So you can see they have a little hook on them. You depress the wire and disengage the hook. And then you put your fly on, no problem. But that little bit that sticks up, when you're passing it through the guides backwards and forwards, when you're removing a reel or putting the reel back on, you're threading things backwards and forwards, it does catch on the guides a little bit. They're small enough to go through the guides. If you're looking size 0, size 1, they'll go through anything, from a 5 weight up. I mean, if you go into the really tiny rod sizes, you won't be using snaps anyway. So the types of rods we're likely to use a snap on, 6 weight, 7 weight, 8 weight, there's no problem with the guide size. These things will go through, but that little stub that sticks up can be a nuisance. This style is even better. There's nothing sticking up. These will go through the guides very easily. A little more of a fiddle to get the fly on because you kind of have to thread the fly on, but it works really, really well. And as I say, goes through the guides beautifully. So if you're looking for snaps, you want something that's small enough, light wire enough that it's really not going to affect the fly action that much negatively. And it will go through the guides when you're finished at the end of the day and you're reeling everything in. It'll go through the guides quite smoothly. So you got those two criterias, really. And don't worry about pound test. I mean, even these small ones are like 20 pound and 30 pound, the smallest snaps. So, I mean, it's going to be a way greater pound test than any kind of tippet we're likely to use. And if you're going to go with really heavy-duty stuff, you can, say big pike flies and you're catching muskie and pike, and you want to go up to a little heavier, well, then the rods you're using have whopping great huge guides, so it's no big problem to go up to a bigger snap. But I've started using snaps over the last little while. I got back into conventional angling when I got involved with Loomis and Shimano. So I've always had snaps available, and I started to use them. And really, it does make our life a little easier. And it doesn't have any impact on the fish catching ability of the average streamer. Think about it. Conventional anglers have been using snap swivels in front of lures forever. And they catch plenty of fish on those setups. So you're not going to turn a fish off because there's a snap on the front. I mean, if it's not turned off by that great honkin' hook gape at the back, it's not going to be turned off by a snap at the front. It's the movement and the color that does the work for us. And the snap actually improves movement. And it actually improves the right angle. And the fly will tend to nose down a little bit with a snap on the front. So, as I say, give it some thought. Don't think, oh, it's conventional angling, I can't do it. You know, it makes your life easier, improves the ride of the fly. I mean, what else can go wrong? And as I say, obviously I won't be using them on dry flies. I won't be using them on little wet flies or little nymphs. But for streamers and poppers and all that kind of good stuff, you know, it saves you a lot of bother and actually can improve things. So give it some thought. Put a snap on your end of your leader and make your life a little simpler. Cheers.